Welcome to week 5 of the Oracle Sports Social Distancing Podcast. I'm Oracle Sports Editor Brian Hattab, and that is Nolan Brown.
Hello.
I would like to assure you that those are our real names. This is the third take of the open to this podcast. The first take, by the way, I said my name was Nolan Brown. So, yeah, we're going to acknowledge that happened because it was ridiculous, but we may or may not ever actually show you that footage. And I think we're better off just not doing that.
See, I thought I didn't even flinch at first because I was like, okay, we're going to try and do something fun, switch it up a little bit here. And then, no, that wasn't the case at all. Brian actually just screwed up.
It's a big screw up too. I mean, I was watching the new episode of American Dad last night on TBS because, I mean, what else you can watch? And Steve was supposed to take the PPSAT, which is the pre-SAT, which is totally sound like a real thing. Anyway, a series of wacky events later, he's basically unconscious by the time they get to the testing center, and his sister Haley takes the test for him instead, and Haley is a dope. So the test scores come back in the mail, I don't know, however long later. Steve, all excited, opens it up and says, once again, thank you, Haley, for saving me there. He opens it up, looks at the score, it's like a 0. And Haley's like, oh, what are you going to do? And he's like, you get 200 points for spelling my name correctly. And she's like, it's not my name. I'm sorry, that was a pointless aside here. Oh man, I think we just killed the entire time we had allocated to talk about The Last Dance and all the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James comparisons. Oh no, that's terrible. We won't get to talk about that. We won't get to talk about pointless comparisons from two different players in two different eras of the league. And let's be honest, doing two different things with their careers. You want to look at something. Jordan had, I'd say, a consistent number 2 with Scottie Pippen the entire time of his career. Meanwhile, LeBron has been all over the league, honestly, and had consistent success. Wonder who's better.
Here's a hot
take. What?
It's
not worth arguing about.
Here's a hot take.
But,
ready for this one? Ready?
Yeah.
They're both good.
Yeah, we're way off topic now. We were supposed to talk about the NFL draft. Why don't we just get to the Evelyne Viens conversation at this point? We had a good conversation with Evelyne Viens earlier today. Talked to her about her time at Sky Blue FC, I guess. It's really been 2 months, talking about really what she's doing right now in quarantine. And this has been a point of contention for all of us in the USF media. We're convinced she scored 4 goals in the NCAA tournament opening rounds in 2019 when the NCAA is insisting, because we actually sort of appealed to the NCAA in a little bit of a way. We really didn't, but we tweeted about it. And then we didn't really appeal, but we tweeted about it. It got back to USF Communications. So they appealed to the NCAA, and the NCAA, UF, acting on the NCAA's behalf, said no. And I have my thoughts about that because just based on my experience there, I have my thoughts about why they said no. But we can believe whatever we want to believe, right? Because our friend Kevin Erlinson has multiple times tweeted out she scored 4 goals in that game. I'm like, Kevin, you can't tweet that. Kevin, you can't tweet that. We can believe it. We can talk about it amongst ourselves, but you can't tweet that. It's fact, man.
Kevin, we love your strong opinions, Kevin.
Well, okay. Let's say it here. Why? I'll give you the justification why. The NCAA, really, UF on behalf of the NCAA, gave us the explanation that she has to intentionally head the ball. And this might be a good time to maybe overlay the video into myself later on when editing. It was a deflection. It was off of a corner kick that defender Fanny Peltier La Roche headed Goalkeeper for Florida, her name escapes me at the moment, but she had that played perfectly if that ball was coming straight off of Fanny's head. But then you have Ev jump up and, do what any good striker does is, try to get contact with the ball, gets contact with her head. She claims she wasn't trying to get contact on it, or trying to redirect it or whatever. But ultimately, if you break it down frame by frame by frame by frame, intent might not be there, but there was a clear redirect. So UF wasn't convinced that there was a clear redirect, which to me, I think sells their goalkeeper short. Right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. I think they should have changed that to a goal for Evelyne Viens. If it's UF making that decision, I think but that's ultimately the way it was explained to me. And I might be completely wrong. It might be the NCAA itself, but my understanding, it was the official Florida scorekeeper had to make that call again.
Well, they could have been selling your goalkeeper short, like you said. Implausible, probably. But it also,
I think it does sell her short, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, it could also just be, what you see, what the linesman saw, or what the coach saw, or whatever, or what was described to them. I mean, you don't have VAR in college soccer. Thank God you don't have VAR in college soccer. But
yeah,
I mean, just based on that, I mean, you kind of, I don't know, if you look at the frame, it's a slight touch. Like it hits her head, definitely. But it's like not a significant hit where you would see it with your naked eye. So that was probably the decision.
Yeah, but here's the thing: and obviously I was on the field 20 yards away from where this all went down. So yeah, I mean, at first I thought it was Ev's goal. That's the thing. Now, obviously, I didn't have the perspective you might have in the press box, where they can see where it's probably hard. Ev being as close to the ball as, again, I had a different angle than what they had in the press box. But then again, the great equalizer was the video that USF actually got from their camera person that day, because he got the video that we've slowed down frame by frame to see this. But at the end of the day, and I think Ev kind of summed it up perfectly in her chat, doesn't really matter. They got the win. She had a hat trick in that game. I mean, it's hard to really be upset.
Ooh, you missed out on a double brace. Darn, you just have to settle for a hat trick.
A double brace in the NCAA tournament, though. Double brace in the NCAA tournament. That would have been something special. But she ultimately wound up scoring 6 goals that counted in that NCAA tournament run that brought them to the Sweet 16 for the first time ever in program history. So at the end of the day, it was an incredible season last year for Evelyne Viens. She is the all-time leading goal scorer in – there's somebody behind you.
Yeah, no, it's my brother. You want to come say hi?
She's the all-time leading goal scorer in program history and conference history. So that's why we were kind of as taking up the case for it as we were at the time, because it's one of those things where, especially at that moment, we didn't necessarily know she'd have 2 more goals to her name at the end of it all. And, you want to see that record go up as high as it can, because once your 4 years are done, you can't keep playing in the NCAA. You're done. So that record is set in stone. Well, it can obviously be surpassed, but her number is not going to change at this point. So that's why we took up the cause for, like 20 minutes. But ultimately, that's our feeling. If I'm smart enough, I'll overlay the video at some point in this chat, and you can, or discussion, and you can make your own decisions. I'll have to find that video first. So either way, talk to Evelyne Viens. It's a good conversation. Our guest this week is a legend in the USF athletics world. She, last season for USF women's soccer, broke the AAC program record for single season goals with 25 goals, and the USF program record, which she held prior to last season with 25 goals, of course. She scored 3 goals in the opening round of the NCAA tournament against UF. She was the number 5 overall pick in this year's NWSL draft by Sky Blue FC, which is the second highest pick in any sport in USF athletics history. We're joined by none other than Evelyne Viens. Ev, thanks for joining us this week. Hope you're doing well. How are things going up for you? I'm assuming you're up in New Jersey right now, right?
Yeah, thank you for having me. But yes, I'm in New Jersey right now. I think we all know New Jersey is one of the worst states to be in right now, but everything is going great and just trying to stay positive and all of that.
Well, you mentioned New Jersey is probably one of the worst states you could be in right now, considering all that's going on in terms of how hard the tri-state area has been hit. Obviously, that kind of limits your ability to train as an athlete. What have you been doing to kind of stay in shape and keep your wits about you?
So before everything hit, we had 5 days of practice with the team. And after we got quarantined, so the strength coach sent us conditioning stuff to do, and we have lifting too. So we do most likely lift at home, and we're lucky enough we found a turf that is still open, so we still have the chance to go on the turf and do some running and things from soccer. And I most likely just train with my roommate to be sure that we're just in contact with each other and just stay safe.
Now, you were drafted on January 16th, and then basically everything was put on hold on March 13th. So that's about, a couple months of time in between. And just kind of take us a brief summary, basically, of after you got drafted and in between those 2 months there.
So when I got drafted, I came back to Florida to train with the team. So I practiced with the women's team for a month. And after, I think I did maybe a month with the men's team practicing. So it was with our USF men's soccer team was different level, but it was really great for me, just getting ready for another speed of play. Went to New Jersey early March, ready for practices. Only did 5. It was a great level. It was fun to experience it. And after we got pushed on hold since March 13 or something like that, like you said, and just being trying to stay fit and just staying mentally ready and trying to learn the game in another way. It's just with the videos and talking with coaches too.
What's your living arrangement like? Because I know you've spoken with Derek Sharp, and we spoke with Derek as well. He said that, it's probably not a great time when you're just moved to a new place to then all of a sudden be stuck inside. Are you living with teammates, or do you at least have somebody with you right now?
Yeah, so we're supposed to live 3 people here, but right now we're only 2 because one was on contract, and for some reason they cannot let trial player in market. But right now I live with another rookie that she's from Penn State. So luckily we get really along, and we just hang out all the time, and we have many common points together, so we have fun. And it's good for mentally to have someone and just spending time and not being alone in this hard time.
Well, you mentioned, mentally it's good to not be alone, because I was just reading your statement after you were drafted, just going to Sky Blue, which is based in Harrison, New Jersey, suburb of Newark, for those who don't know. You're a bit closer to your home province of Quebec than you were in Florida, but you can't travel internationally right now. You probably shouldn't travel domestically right now. How hard has it been? At least you have some companionship, but you don't have these people that you probably were counting on to be around you right now.
Yeah, it's for sure really different. And being in Florida, I'm getting used. I used to have my roommate for the last 4 years, the same roommate. So you have this comfort zone, and you're just good in it, and you love living with them. And now you just start over with new girls, and you get stuck with them and fight for 24/7. But luckily, I'm really grateful that I get along with my roommate, and we spend good time. And yes, I'm far from my family, and I wish I can be home with them, but I know that it's the best for me to stay here and just to stay positive. And I talk with them more often than I used to do in Florida. So I think it's good for our family in the way that we still connect and talk with them. And I know they're safe where they are, and I'm safe what I'm doing here. So I think it's great.
And we saw a couple of videos on Sky Blue's Twitter and Instagram of you and your roommate and, you know, just other teammates and how they're staying quarantined. And there's a little bit more, I guess, of that sort of media thing that you get with the professional team. And, you know, they've been probably throwing a camera in front of you and saying, hey, you know, read this. And is that a little bit different than what we used to do back at USF?
Yeah, it's really different. Yesterday was funny because it was we do like a player day, so like each number is your day. So yesterday was April 20, it was my number, my day. And many people like, you can send like a question on Instagram and people like, did you see my question? Did you see my question? I was like, I don't have access to that. Like at USF you used to like see the question going or whatever, someone with all the accounts for a day. But now here it's like, it's really different, like the media stuff, and you try to still be present in the community. And like I did some Q&A with fans, but on Zoom. So like trying to stay connected with our fans, but in different way. And it's just another level. It's like professional level, and I like what Fabio is doing here. It's different. It's just another step.
Adding on to that, I mean, yeah, you had quite a fan base at USF, but I mean, now that you're with a professional team, I mean, you got probably fans from all over the country, and I'm sure your numbers on Twitter and Instagram and whatnot have gone up, and I'm sure you've had a little more interactivity. And how have you kind of adjusted to just having a bigger, I guess, more eyes on you?
I think it's different because like after the draft, I think everything went up, like just like people that follow you, people that write to you and stuff. But I don't think it was a big adjustment. I'm just like, in my head, I'm a soccer player first, so I go on the field, I do my stuff. It's not, I know we have a bigger like platform, if I want, like I can use this word, like people will follow you better and like want to see what you do, but at the same time they're going to change. I'm just going to like still be a soccer player, but I just need to be like smarter and use my not my power, but like my voice to like fight for what I want. So like I think social media is a good side for me to still step in and still learn to how to use it wisely.
So I want to go back to USF, your time at USF for a minute here. You led the team in goals all 4 seasons at USF. You broke the program all-time goal scoring record and the conference all-time goal scoring record, but arguably your greatest performance was your last performance in terms of the 2019 postseason, where I believe you scored, it was the first 7 goals in a row of postseason play, counting conference tournament and NCAA tournament play. Was there kind of a chip on your shoulder, a chip on the team's shoulder? We heard the term revenge tour, which I know you guys kind of played down a little bit. But let's be honest, there had to be a little chip on your shoulder when you guys got sent to Gainesville, correct?
I mean, I think that like it was, I think a great athlete like to show up in a great moment, and I think that's what the team did. So of course we had pressure. I think that the first pressure I really felt was the game against UCF at Memphis, so we know that it's a win or die. But I think every game had like this pressure, but I would not like think about it. I would just be like, it's a chance to play in a great stage and just being able to like help the team to win. That was my only goal. And I mean, I scored many goals, but I think that was all a team effort.
Well, in terms of the grandest stage, you know, you certainly showed up on the grandest stage in that game in Gainesville. You scored 3 goals. In the span of, I believe it was 15 minutes. There was a 4th goal that we've looked at the video a couple of times, and we've been kind of told that we are wrong in our feeling toward this, but I don't know if you've had a chance to look. I'm sure you have looked back on it. The goal got credited to Fanny Peltier La Roche, but we've looked, and you seem to have that last flick off your head that redirected the ball, because it looked like the goalkeeper had it played perfectly otherwise. Have you seen that video? What are your thoughts on that? And I mean, I'm not saying you're ever going to say you want to take a goal away from Fanny or something, because she's a defender. It doesn't happen often. But what do you think? What do you think about that goal?
I mean, when we scored the 4th goal, I knew I touched it, but I didn't like meant to touch it because it really hit me. So for me to be my goal or no was not a big deal, but I think that the coaching staff like tried to have to give it to me or something, but it changed back and forth 2 or 3 times because of the rules. I think it needs, if it's a flip, it needs to be intentional and show that like I did not want to touch the ball. I literally tried to like go on the ground to not touch me, but it touched me. But finally, I think by the NCAA rules, it's Svenny's goal. And to be honest, we just won, so I really didn't care, but it did touch me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that was going to be your response, but yeah, I mean, what does it matter? You guys beat Florida. It was an impressive game, and then the next week you go out, you beat Washington 2-0 behind 2 goals of your own, and then Sydney Martinez has that incredible save on that penalty late in that second half there. That really, I mean, all the momentum was kind of going toward the Huskies at that point. Just how big was that save? I mean, because in reality, I see some people debate it, saying, well, it would have made it a 2-1 game, but I think that kind of stopped the Washington momentum, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because Martinez is an amazing goalkeeper. She can do those saves. I'm just really confident when she's the goal. She's a tall girl and she has a great voice and can do some amazing saves. And when she stopped that, we saw not Washington giving up, but in a way the rhythm came back to ours. And I think it was 15 minutes left, and like we just controlled the ball, and the last 5 minutes was just normal soccer, just moving the ball around, and they were not like pressing as hard as if they would have made it. So Martinez really like secured the game in a way.
Before I let Nolan ask his next question, I want to show a photo. Remember that moment?
I do.
That's your second goal after second goal against Washington. That obviously was the final goal in that game. What was going through your mind in that moment there?
I don't know. I think I need to change my goal celebration for happiness after. If we check the celebration with Andrea and at US, it's the same stuff. Like she pushed me around, but I think it was like relief that we finally. I mean, we still have time to like win this game, but I think it's a relief of saying, oh, well, we have a good chance of making it to the Sweet 16. And like, I don't know. It's just like, I think my anger is going out. I don't know. I need to work.
It was a great moment. It was a great moment because you're usually calm, cool, and collected. So when I went back and looked at my photos from that game later, I was just like, this is so refreshing to see from her.
I know my friends were so happy about this picture, but I think it's really like I don't know. I think the revenge story, like this picture is described by it too. I think the fact of just like beating team after team and just keep going, and it was a really great last final season.
Are you gonna let me talk now, Brian?
I just had to show her the photo.
No, that was great. That was excellent. Well, staying on the topic of goals, that was one of the reasons why Sky Blue drafted you in the first place is your eye for goal. They didn't really have too good of a campaign last season. Yeah, they did have Carly Lloyd up top, but they did add Mallory Pugh this season, and they're planning to be one of the favorites. And given that you guys are all kind of just star strikers basically, and how have you kind of, I guess, have you interacted with them, and how have you learned some things from them, and I guess your short month that you've had?
Actually, I didn't meet Mal neither Carly because the first week we were there, the national team player, either a Canadian or USA or any other national team player, were not there because they were in the national team duty. But I still play with like great player. Like one is Mitch Purse. She's going in like she's national team in and out, and she's a great winger. So I think I've learned from like the girls that were there. Like it's a league that you work hard, it's physically and like technically higher than like college level. So I think I've learned with them. And of course, when like Mario Fuller shop or Carlita is going to be a new world, and knowing how they would train, I'm pretty excited to be able to be with them.
I know Carly's a vet of the game, and when you found out that you'd be her teammate, what was your feeling? Were you a little bit excited about, I guess, rubbing shoulders with a veteran striker?
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting about Carly is just like she's getting, I think she's 37, 36, maybe, I don't know exactly, but like she's still so in shape. And if I watched some Sky Blue game from last year, meanwhile I was in Florida, just to know how they were playing, and Carly every game she was the best girl there because physically she's so in shape, and like just learning how she stay physically good like that, and mentally still her IQ of the game is so high. So just being able to be play with one of the best players in the world it doesn't happen a lot. And I think Carly would be a great girl to a great woman to follow her path and see what she does.
You know, you mentioned playing with one of the best players in the world. You obviously had your chance to play with, or not necessarily play with, but you had your shot at the Canadian national team earlier this year. Ultimately didn't pan out. What did you take away from that? And do you think, when do you think that time will come? Because it seems inevitable.
So when they put my name on the roster, it was like a 40 girls roster, and they were going to the CONCACAF tournament, and they were just calling 20 people in. So actually, I didn't know what name was going to be in there, so I did not get called to camps, and I knew I wasn't going to get called to camps because they wanted to focus on the same player that I've been practicing with for the last World Cup to the Olympic, and because the difference is in the World Cup they can have a greater roster and bring more players. In the Olympic, I think it's 18 players. So they wanted to focus on the girl they actually had in the program for quite a while and just building a chemistry. So I knew it wasn't going to be this year, but I know that if I do good in the pro, they will probably give me a chance in camp. So I'm not really worried about it right now. I'm just trying to be ready for the pro and the moment that I would be able to play in the pro and just show up what I can do. I feel like they would call me up. So I'm not really worried about this part.
And obviously things are pretty much on lockdown at this point in New York, and I'm sure you've had a lot of free time outside of training. What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? Have you been watching anything or just hanging out?
I mean, the first month was pretty relaxed, and I'm a person that's a pretty intense person, so I hate doing nothing. So I watched a couple of TV shows, and now I'm reading a couple of books, and I actually registered to go back to school to do my MBA. So I think it would be good to do that. Meanwhile, playing professional soccer, because we have a lot of free time. And my roommate has a dog, so we try to help with the dog. Not quite good with animals, but just hanging out a lot and watching TV show most likely.
Where are you going to be getting your MBA?
I'm doing from back home.
Oh, okay.
French. But, yeah.
That's actually a good segue to a question I had. I didn't know until recently, I think it was when Joey Knight did a story on you, that when you got to USF, you didn't speak a word of English. I guess this is kind of a two-part question. Number one is, how did you get into a university like USF without speaking a word of English? And number two is, how was that transition, and how did you become so fluent in the language?
First, I mean, at home, from where I'm from, Quebec City, we most likely just speak French. We had English classes and stuff, but I did my ACT and other stuff, and I kind of figured out, but speaking was so hard. And in school, I'm decent, so I can try to figure it out. And I did a TOEFL, and I did that stuff. I passed it, so I was okay, I think I can make it. So writing and reading, writing and reading was not that bad, and just speaking was so hard for me. So when I got in with soccer, of course, but I did all right in auto testing. And when I got to school, I actually pick it up quickly and just learning English. And I would be with I had one of my teammates that speaks French and English, so she helped me a lot. And I mean, just accepting to do mistake was probably hardest for me. And nothing would be perfect, but I just need to speak to learn English. So that's what I did and pick it up. And I still learn right now, so I still do mistakes, but I accept it and I'm bilingual. So I think it's good for me.
Did it kind of help coming to a university like USF, where it's one of probably the most diverse universities in the country?
Yeah, of course. Because when I came to my visit, it was a while ago, but I did not say a word. I think I said hi to everyone. That's it. And I saw so many girls in the locker room that would speak Spanish or any other languages. So I was okay, maybe I can do it too. And many girls were oh, this girl did not speak English, and she picked it up. And I saw all the academic advisor and all the tutor you can get. So I was I think I can do it, and it would be a good challenge. So I know USF is great, and we had a girl this year too that came from Spain, and she picked it up too. So I think it's a big family culture, and everyone is there to help each other.
Did you playing good soccer pretty much right off the bat. Did that kind of help you settle in a little bit more and make it easier to learn English?
Yeah, of course. I think that like when you can not prove yourself, but like show that like you want the best for the team and just like being able to bring your part and like help the team to win is so much easier. And like the girls are nice to you no matter what. Like you're a starter, you're a finisher, you don't even travel, it doesn't matter. It's just like we're all in this together. And for me, of course, like being able to play helped me to just in a way be happy too, because like I came to ESF for the sport and just being able to evolve as a person, like being able to show up on the field and finding my like happy moment there was good, because it was hard to not be able to like talk with everyone on the front of the field.
Did it kind of help? You know, you're coming and not only coming far from home, but to a place where a lot of people, you know, maybe don't speak English as their first language or wasn't their first language, but you know, your head coach is from the same country, so you kind of have some familiarity there.
Yeah, of course, and like many girls would be in a way like different from like different background, and I think that's what's great. And like even right now, one of my best friends is actually American, and she was so open-minded that she learned my mentality of like my Canadian mentality in a way, and I learned like her American way. So I think it was great to like just having like open-minded teammates that just like want to know about your culture, like how does it work at home and stuff. So I think the fact that everyone just want to the best for each other, it was way more easier than. And of course, coming up with like I show up with the Iceland girl were there with me, so that was we work so many international far from home, so we can talk about it and just we know the struggle we have sometimes downtime, and we're all there for each other, so that was easier for me.
How was your coach? I know she came in at Sky Blue. She came in toward the tail end of last season as interim, and then she got hired full time. So she's kind of almost a new person on the block too. And how have you find working with Coach Freya?
And she's great. Actually, I really like her. Like I've been coaching by Denise for 4 years, and I think it's great to see female coaches in the league, because I think she's one of the only one, and I think most of our coaching staff are female, so that's great for our women's equality and all of that. And Coach Freya is really good she's a great talker. She talks to you and explains to you, and she wants the best for you, just like having a side conversation, or even right now she's reaching out, being sure that we still focus on soccer, but at the same time how we are and stuff. And her philosophy of soccer is great too, how she wants to play. It's really clear, and even the assistant coach, I really like them. They have different like coaching style of way to talk to you, but I really like the way that they want the best for the team, and the way they were doing for 5 practice was really good, and we had one direction, and I knew that we would be ready for the first game of the season.
Well, speaking of news as well, you guys will also be playing in Red Bull Arena for the first time for next season, whenever that starts. But also the NWSL, they signed a TV deal with, I believe, Twitch and CBS Sports, and it's kind of solidified itself as the league, and it's almost, this league is safe now. Basically, for the longest time, the NWSL was, I guess, under fire from teams over in Europe and whatnot. And just where do you think the state of the NWSL is right now, and coming in as a new player?
I think like we know like what happened with the W League before and everything, and I have some teammates that lived like the situation of the league being shut down and stuff. But I think right now we have a good commissioner. I think her name, I don't remember her name, but like she's new, and like of course it would not be the beginning she expected with the coronavirus. But I think she's like she knows how to make this league great, and I think she's doing great stuff. And we have a good communication with our association player, and with her too. She like let us know what's going to happen. And I think our GM at Sky Blue is great too. She's super young, but she tells us the truth. She wants the team to win, and I think the league is in great hands. And I think it's still a grinding process to be sure that like it's going to stay there for long, and we can still like improve so much more, and like just our salary and nothing compared to the MLS. But I think it's still we need to be part of the movement and just keep asking for more in a way, and just I think the NWSL is doing great. Is having a great path to success. Yeah.
You had your draft in mid-January, and I think it might be the last league that actually had its draft in North America before all the coronavirus thing. The everything went down. Obviously, we saw the WNBA hold its draft virtually on Friday, and we're going to see the NFL draft this weekend virtually. And it looked like the WNBA did it without too much of a hitch. We'll see how the NFL goes, but I mean, there's really no comparing to be able to do it in person versus virtually. What was that experience like for you, hearing your name called, especially hearing your name called so high?
Yeah, I think the fact that it was so high, I was not ready for that. But I think it's the NWSL, like this part of like the way that they organize the draft is amazing. It's going so fast, and like looking back at it, it's maybe 1 or 2 hours, but you feel like it was so quick because like your stress level is going up. You sit down and you don't know who's going to pick you. So the moment you get your name called, I think my stress was so high. Just saying a speech in front of everyone, that's not what I really like. And after you get off stage, you do more interviews, you meet your new coaching staff, you meet so many new people trying to know their name and so many information. And after it's all go down, that I think it's a great moment to just live it. I never thought when I was a freshman at USF I would ever be able to be drafted or just being there. So I think being able to be sharing this moment with my family and my coaching staff was really a one-time, a really amazing experience.
I'm sure you're going to miss a lot of the stuff from Tampa and from USF and whatnot. And when you knew you got drafted, you're going up to, closer to home, but maybe a little bit of some colder weather too. And I know based on your Twitter and your Instagram, you go to the beach quite a bit. And so what's something that you're going to miss from Tampa and from USF in general?
I mean, for sure, my teammates and my friends. I met so many great people there, and like even I met friends and I met their family. So I'm going to miss that. But I think the weather is something I miss the most, like just the beach or just being able to like go through the ocean or stuff. Right now, New Jersey doesn't have the greatest weather, and I haven't lived in this weather since I've been back home. So just going to stay used to it and not like waking up with the sun every day. But I think the weather and my friends almost like the stuff I'm going to miss the most. And of course, I love the city of Tampa. It was a great balance of like great big city and like other stuff. So I'm going to miss Florida. Yeah.
That's a great way to end it on. Gonna miss Florida. I mean, that's why everyone retires down here, and there certainly will be a spot for you when your playing day is all said and done. Ev, thanks for stopping by with us. It was great to catch up with you. We wish you all the success in the NWSL whenever that season kicks off. And best of luck in New Jersey.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ev. Take care.
Thanks, Ev.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, that's our show for the week. I'm Mickey Mouse. And that is Donald Duck over there. And this time we actually got our names correct. Just got some late breaking news. Just checking my email here. It's Tuesday at 4:45 p.m. This email came to me at Tuesday at 4:37 p.m. So probably by the time this posts on, next Thursday or whenever it is. By next Thursday, I mean Thursday of next week. That's the joke. USF football's strength of schedule for 2020 is ranked number 2 nationally by ESPN. So that is quite something, and obviously they're scheduled to open the season against preseason top 15 pick Texas. Their strength of schedule was ranked behind only South Carolina, which USF faces 4 preseason top 10 teams and features opponents that combined to go 102-54 last season. Wow,
that's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. Really, my takeaway is I just hope the season happens. My takeaway isn't like, oh my God, they're going to get shellacked, because that would just be an overly negative point of view before we actually know how the season's going to play itself out. And what I learned from last year is going into a season with positive expectations doesn't mean anything. So why go into a season with negative expectations? I'm just going in hoping that there's a season to go in with any expectations for.
I just hope we have football.
Yeah, it's not even a matter of I just hope both teams have fun. I just hope both teams can play.
There you go. We're breaking it down base by base.
Hope both. Okay, tired. I just hope both teams have fun. Wired. I just hope both teams play. We'll talk to you next week.